Watch meeting. Let's tell you what else is happening, and this is now update coming in from the Supreme Court. The Centre and the Delhi Lieutenant Governor have filed affidavits in the Supreme Court. They've responded to why there was a need for an ordinance, and they have said that it was primarily because there was a situation where there was a witch hunt against officers. The Aap government targeted vigilance officers. This is really the sum and substance of the arguments by the Centre and the Delhi LG in their affidavit in Supreme Court. Legal editor Harish Nair now joining us for more on this. Yes, Harish.
Yes, Pranesh, justification being given by the Centre and the LG as far as the ordinance is concerned. Let me read out the highlights of the affidavit. It says, ministers uploaded orders on social media leading to witch hunt of officers. Aam Aadmi Party-led government targeted vigilance officers and accessed vigilance to take hold of officers to take hold of files past 11 p.m. entering into officers. An entire challenge is presented by the petitioners that ordinance was promulgated without any legislative competence is wrong. Let me read out a very relevant portion, Pranesh. It says, it is submitted that 2 days after the sealing of the office of the Special Secretary Vigilance, where the files of the aforesaid nature were kept, the de-sealing was done at the behest of the political establishment of the elected government to enable them to have access to the vigilance files and have them photocopied, which exercise started at 11 p.m. around midnight and continued up to 2:30 a.m. middle of the night under the gaze of TV cameras. Such a thing happening in the capital of the nation not only took the citizens of the nation by shock, but also became a matter of huge embarrassment at international level. Since the entire exercise was also covered by electronic media, the above incident also led to filing of an FIR. And also, Pranesh, other grounds cited are that the entire it says that in fact it says the Centre says Delhi Ordinance brought in a hurry to prevent Aam Aadmi Party government from transferring Vigilance Department officials. Complaints started coming from Vigilance officials received after 11 May verdict. Files relating to Excise Department investigation, feedback unit investigation taken from Vigilance Department officers. Arrogant, insensitive behavior by Aam Aadmi Party ministers forced ordinance to be promulgated. Delay in ordinance would have paralyzed governance, shamed nation globally. Officers obstructed from working, and administrative chaos in Delhi led to emergency for bringing ordinance. And it also, on the Centre's part, the Centre says that the entire challenge presented by petitioners, that is the Kejriwal government, that ordinance was promulgated without any legislative competence is wrong. Bald and baseless submissions are premised on political grounds, not on legal or constitutional grounds. If the ordinance still to be tested in Parliament is stayed, it will cause irreparable harm to the administration of Delhi. And very significantly, Pranesh, the Centre asked the Supreme Court to hold its hands till the end of the monsoon session, saying that the ordinance will be placed before the Parliament on monsoon session, and we never know that there would be major changes in it. So very, very big indication being given by the Centre. And also the Centre says part of the para 95 in the judgment of May 11, wherein the Supreme Court had handed over the rule of administration, the civil services to the Delhi government.
Right.
Even the same judgment had said, if Parliament enacts a law...
Right, Harish, just hold your thoughts. You've given us the main points. Priya Bahl is joining us on the big screen. Priya, you have the copy of the affidavit.
Yes, as Harish was pointing out, one of the arguments that has been made by the Centre in favor of them being forced to bring an ordinance is that the Delhi government had resorted to witch hunt. Now, here is a specific example of that. This affidavit says the ministers started uploading the orders on social media platforms, making statements in media, and started a witch hunt, harassment of officers, media trials, threats, and street postures of influence to influence the decision making by the officers. The communications were received by the Chief Secretary of National Capital Region from the senior officers regarding multiple instances of misbehavior on the part of the Honorable Minister's Services, which at that point in time and even now is Saurabh Bharadwaj. From such complaints, it emerged that an attempt was made to act contrary to the spirit of the judgment of this court. Remember, the ordinance was brought after the court had already given the control of services, which is the posting and transfer of bureaucrats, to the Delhi government. Government is now saying because they started misusing that judgment to harass the officers, the Centre was forced to bring in the ordinance.
Okay, Priya, thanks for taking us through some of the examples. Harish, if I can come back to you. This is on the back of a massive political blame game between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party, where the Aam Aadmi Party alleged that this is nothing but strong-arm tactics by the centre to dislodge a duly elected government.
Yes, Ganesh, the Aam Aadmi Party government has called the ordinance unconstitutional and an affront on democratic principles, and also an attempt to circumvent the May 11th Supreme Court judgment, whereby the Supreme Court had handed over the power and authority of the Delhi services, that is the posting and control and transfer of bureaucrats, except in the areas of public order, land and police, to the Delhi government. But through this ordinance, the centre had restored this power, and centre in fact had defended. It's saying that in the para 95 of the judgment, the Supreme Court itself says, if Parliament enacts a law granting executive power on any subject which is within the domain of the NCTD, the executive power of the Lieutenant Governor shall be modified to the extent as provided in that law. So it's the centre versus Kejriwal over ordinance still continues. Today, remember, the Supreme Court had advised